to share whatever we have with as many people as we can. We read actually 2 parashiyot this week, Vayakhel-Pekudei, but my remarks are connected to a statement at the beginning of Parashat Vayakhel. Lo teva'aru esh b'chol moshvotechem b'yom haShabbat. Do not kindle fire in any of your dwelling places. Now, of course, the simple interpretation of the text is that you're not allowed to light a fire. There's a lengthy discussion in Talmudic literature. Why is it that this particular prohibition is mentioned? Not all the other. We have many prohibitions on Shabbat. Some say because maybe on various forms of fire may be used on holidays. So maybe that would be one of the distinctions between a holiday and Shabbat. There are all kinds of interpretations. We would like this evening to study another way of reading this text. And that is, according to certain sources, when it says in the Torah not to ignite fire, it means a different kind of fire. Do not ignite the fire of dissension. Shabbat is a day of unity. It's always wrong to incite hatred. It's always incorrect to encourage strife. But on Shabbat, there's a special requirement of consideration in this particular area. Be especially careful to stay away from mahaloket on Shabbat. Shabbat is our national day of togetherness. But precisely as a result of that, chas v'shalom, God forbid, it could turn to the opposite as well. When people are together, maybe the whole week they have no chance to argue with each other. They don't even see each other. They don't even see each other, right? But on Shabbat, everybody's sitting together. Everybody's spending time together. The Zohar teaches that there's something called Razah de Shabbat. There's a secret connected to Shabbat. There's one aspect of Shabbat, the secret of Shabbat. And in Zoharic language, it's something along the lines of, it's the Razah de Echad. It's the secret of everything becoming one. I once heard a rabbi say that according to one tradition, in Pirkei Avot, in the Ethics of the Fathers, we study that God created 10 different creations on Friday afternoon at twilight. So this rabbi said, I think it was half jokingly, but half seriously, he said that's why in every Jewish home, at the last second before Shabbat, there are always at least 10 things left to do. But yeah, God created 10 creations, and so everybody has 10 things. But you had the whole week, right? You had all the way from Saturday night. No, and every time there's a certain kind of whenever there's an exact time where something has to be done within a certain framework, then it can, God forbid, lead to tension. There's a story in the Talmud, in Tractate Gittin, page 52, where in a certain home, every Friday afternoon, they would fight with each other. I hope it's the only home of such a nature in world history. I hope it never happens again anywhere, and I hope it's unparalleled. I hope it's only an academic discussion. And Rabbi Meir, one of the greatest Tannaitic leaders, found out about this and decided that he's going to do something to stop it. And so what does he do? He shows up every Friday afternoon in the house. Now you can't, no matter how much you want to scream, and no matter how much you want to fight, it's very difficult to do so in the presence of Rabbi Meir. You can ask yourself, what would happen if, I don't know, you have to fill in the blank, if the personality that you respect would show up at the door? Would you continue? I think 99.999% of the population would say absolutely no. So Rabbi Meir came one week. They couldn't fight and scream. They couldn't fight and scream that week. And then he came a second time and a third time. And there were no more no more flames of discontent in that house. Right? And I think that maybe the same is true. The same is true of preparations. In a few weeks we have Pesach coming up, the great holiday of Passover. There's tension. There's a lot of tension in many places. Hashem should bless all the Jewish homes in the world preparing for Pesach. But maybe this teaching of Lo Teva'aru Eish, You know what happens if someone cleans a room properly for Pesach, and they remove all leavened products and items from that room, and a child accidentally walks in with a wafer, with a biscuit, with a piece of cake, with some cereal. Innocent child. I know that you spent the last 10 hours cleaning, but maybe in the spirit of Lo Tevaru Eish. It's easy for me to say this, but this is the concept. Lo Tevaru Eish b'chol moshvotechem. Do you know? I read a beautiful story. I think it was about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. You've heard of him? Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the founder of the Musar movement. Yeah, they were baking matzot. So they asked him. They said, "What's the most important law?" You know, everybody has certain stringencies in baking matzot. So Rabbi, they said to Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, what should we be most careful about when we bake the matzot? And he said, you know, there are some widows working in the matzah factory, and maybe you're so tense about making sure that the matzah is baked in a certain way within a certain amount that you may say something, or you may say something that will hurt their feelings. You may say something which will be insensitive to them. That's what you have to be most careful about. The rabbis teach that the fires of hell are extinguished on Shabbat. Gehinnom is closed on Shabbat. So, in a certain sense, God asks of us, if the fires of hell are not functioning on Shabbat, so maybe the fires of your hell, you know, like maybe be careful with the way you present yourself. Maybe all negative flames should follow suit as well. Perhaps after reading our text, we gain new understandings of what we mean of Menuchat Shalom. We want a rest on Shabbat of peace. And I think that maybe when the entire Jewish community blesses each other on Shabbat with the blessing of Shabbat Shalom, maybe it has new meaning in the spirit of Lo Tevaru Eish b'chol moshvotechem v'yom HaShabbat. Maybe we really mean, maybe that's what you should mean when you say it. May this Shabbat be the Shabbat without any kind of fires, of any kind of fights. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom.
I saw the lessons on the YouTube and
where?
From Romania, and I started to cry because I knew I had been many times at this table, and now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it from far away. 20 years ago, I made Aliyah.
Okay.
And I live in Israel, Baruch Hashem. A Jew must be a Jew all over the world, a good person, and a God-loving person, and a good behaving person to the other. To be a model of what God wanted to create. We're parts of the first soul, of the first human being. We're living in a period where it's not a very positive thing what I'm going to say, but that a lot of places in the world we are not loved. I hope Mashiach will come sooner, and I hope people will understand, will become smarter and understand we don't have bad intention. We love everybody and we want the good for everybody, for all the world, because we are created by the same God and we are kind of brothers, all the human beings. I realized that the Almighty created this place, the Holy Land. I mean, it's the optimal place. The other are a mirror for yourself. If you're smiling to somebody, he will turn you back a smile.